The Warriors finished off the Las Vegas Summer League with an 0-5 record, tying the Orlando Magic with the worst record. They also went 1-1 in the California Classic. I wouldn't take much out of the team's standings, as it is quite normal for championship caliber teams in the NBA to have their Summer League rosters do poorly. If you look at the overall standings for Summer League, you will notice that most of the championship teams were more in the lower end record-wise. I view Summer League more as a way for teams' rookies to get adjusted to their team's playstyle, and for teams to find out who they want to bring in to fill out the end of their rosters. The playoffs and the championship are just an added bonus. Anyway, in today's video, I wanted to go over my first impressions and thoughts of the Warriors Summer League players, most importantly the rookies like Podemski and Trayce Jackson-Davis, but also players like Santos and Lester Quinones. One thing I would like to say before getting into my thoughts is that Summer League is meant to be taken with a grain of salt. Just because someone dominates in Summer League doesn't mean they will be solid in the NBA. Conversely, just because someone plays poorly in the Summer League, that doesn't mean they should automatically be labeled a bust. While Summer League is a great way to see how upcoming players could potentially fit in the NBA, the last thing that should be done is to be quick to overreact. Alright, with that being said, let's get into it. The first player I thought would be best to start off on is Podemski. Pod's had a very unusual Summer League. Obviously, the first thing to talk about is his poor shooting. In the 7 games he played, he shot only 33% on field goals and 25% from 3. I'm not worried at all about this because it is very common for rookies to shoot poorly in their first season. We have to remember that Steph Curry also shot poorly back in his first Summer League, shooting only 32.5% overall and 34.5% from 3, and getting outplayed by Anthony Randolph and Anthony Morrow. Of course, I'm not saying that Pods is the next Steph Curry, but let's slow down on calling him a bust. It takes some players time to get used to the flow and pace of the NBA. When we reach the actual season, Pods playing alongside real NBA players will give him higher percentage looks, which will help him find his rhythm. Setting that aside, some of the things that really impressed me was his passing and his rebounding. He had some beautiful passes that set his teammates up for easy buckets. Finding the open big man in traffic, or simply throwing a clean pass up ahead on the fast break, Pod showed flashes of his potential as a floor general. As for rebounding, Pod showed his hustle by averaging a little over 6 rebounds per game, crashing the paint for boards. Maybe he can become a good rebounder like Curry, who averaged 6.1 rebounds per game last season. In what Pods lacked in shooting, he did fairly well in all other aspects of his game. It'll be interesting to see how much playing time he'll get next season, as the guard rotation is stacked with the addition of CP3 and Corey Joseph, as well as Moody probably getting more playing time. I won't be surprised if he spends a decent amount of time in the G League. The next player I wanted to talk about is Trayce Jackson-Davis. In the 2 games we saw from him, he may very well be the most NBA-ready player out of all the players I'm going to talk about in this video. That makes sense, since he did play college level for all 4 years, you tend to get more polished players at that level. Jackson-Davis seems to fit perfectly with Kevon Looney and Draymond Green as an undersized big man, but he seems to have more of a knack for scoring compared to those two. In the 2 games he played, he dropped 14-7 in Game 1 and 18-10 in Game 2. He showcased his paint presence through the use of the pick and roll, setting strong screens, getting open on the roll, catching the ball with good hands, displaying patience underneath the rim, and finishing strong. He has all the tools to be a steady and consistent big man in the league. Pair him up with Chris Paul, who has basically made every big man look good in the pick and roll. I'm excited to see the type of player he can become. One question I do have for him though is his versatility as a defender. Because he's undersized as a center, I'm interested to see how he matches up against bigger size centers or when he is switched onto guards. Hopefully Draymond can teach him how to become an elite defender guarding positions 1 through 5. He also seems like a high IQ player who plays in agreement with the system and knows where to be at all times. Although he will most likely be the 3rd string center, Steve Kerr will probably give him plenty of chances to play decent minutes. The next player is Santos. After gaining 15 pounds since last Summer League, looks so much stronger attacking the basket, averaging 17.6 points per game on an efficient 51% shooting through 6 games. He showcases aggression and willingness to get to the rim. Although he shot only 28% from 3, the mixture of his good form and confidence when shooting the ball makes me believe he has potential to be a great 3-point shooter. One thing that he has to work on though is sharpening his handle. He racked up a decent amount of turnovers just from poor dribbling alone, but I think that goes along with his decision making. I felt like he was a little too aggressive at times and he would dribble straight into traffic and lose the ball, so he will need to strengthen his decision making as well. But it's good news that Guy admitted that he needs to work on these kinds of stuff. In one specific interview with Jason Dumas, Guy stated that he still has a lot to improve on in all facets of his game, but he said most importantly he needs to work on his handle, his decision making, and his defense. In Summer League, his best games included 25 points and 7 rebounds on July 7th versus the Lakers, and 18 points on 7 of 9 shooting July 3rd versus the Hornets. He missed the final game Saturday versus the Raptors after suffering some sort of chest injury the game before. I think Santos deserves a 2-way contract for showing how well he improved and played in Summer League, and he'll probably have an opportunity to get a spot during training camp and preseason. If not, he'll get another year to improve his game in the G League, where he will get more consistent minutes. Last but not least, we have Lester Quinones. I've seen a lot of people comparing his playstyle to that of Jordan Poole's, and I have to agree. Both are shifty scorers who could score from all three levels of the floor, from deep range to the mid range and attacking the paint. Both have the speed and dribbling moves to break their defender down one-on-one, and both have the ability to hit very difficult contested shots. One thing that I saw that was a little different in Lester though, is that he seems to have a little more control under his play. He seems to have a better idea of when to slow it down, and understands that not every move has to be at full speed. Even when he had poor shooting games, such as shooting 2 for 11 versus the Rockets, he was still able to impact the game by getting 8 assists. In another game that he shot only 8 of 23, he was able to get to the line 17 times, where he hit 13 of them to finish off with 31 points. Through 7 Summer League games, he averaged 21.9 points per game, 4.4 assists per game, and 4.1 rebounds per game on 39% shooting. One question I do have for him is how he's going to develop as a player. These scorer type players such as him and Poole usually have low efficiency and are very inconsistent. To fight that and make it into the rotation, he'll have to develop into an above average defender and playmaker. Even then, it seems like the Warriors have a lot of confidence in him. This Friday on July 21st, news came out that Quinones signed a 2-way contract with the Warriors. Shams noted that he will have an opportunity to fight for the 14th roster spot during training camp. Anyways, that's my analysis and thoughts of the top 4 Warriors Summer League players. We will probably see more play from them during the preseason, so that's something to look forward to. Do you agree? Let me know which players surprised or interested you the most this Summer League. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and go Warriors!